Well, we have heard it everywhere, folks, net neutrality, but many of us aren't sure exactly what it means.
Or how it can affect us, but it is something that makes things very fair and lets you have the same benefits as others. So joining us now to tell us all about net neutrality is our tech expert, Nika Allen. Thank goodness we've been hearing about this all the time.
Yeah, so I mean, this has kind of been a thing, a point of contention for a lot of people when it was first discussed last year. People were talking about net neutrality. Now it's a thing. Now it's
You were here last year talking about it.
We were. I think we were talking about this very thing. So break it down for us, Nika. What exactly does net neutrality mean for us?
Yeah, so last year we introduced the debate here, really, but net neutrality actually at its simplest and really at its core is the principle that all internet traffic should be created equally. I mean, it should be treated equally. So it should be put out the same rates, and internet service providers should not be able to let someone pay more to have their content distributed to you first.
Right.
And I know that sounds kind of complex, so I actually brought a video because it's kind of easier to look at this and understand it with a visual.
Okay.
So we'll hopefully play that.
Yeah, let's take the video.
Yeah.
Net neutrality. Its future is up for debate, and many say its demise could change your experience online. Here's how.
I have no patience for useless things.
When you download from the internet, it arrives in packets of data. Think of the packets as literal packages. Let's say you want to watch a Netflix movie which is 10 packages big. You order, Netflix ships, but first it has to go through a sorting facility. In this analogy, that's an internet service provider like Verizon or Comcast. Now, what net neutrality means is that all packages must be delivered at the same rate. If the law changes, a company like Netflix could pay extra to get on the first truck. If a company doesn't pay, they might be shut out of that first truck. They'll get delivered eventually. But if that climactic movie scene arrives late, you know what that means.
Your TV.
Yeah, it means you punch your TV.
It means you punch your TV.
That's right. Okay,
exactly
so
what it
we've heard there's been a lot of new developments, and now we're talking to something called the open internet. So can you explain what that is?
Yeah, so last week, actually, the Federal Communications Commission reclassified broadband internet as a telecom service, so something more like your phone service, rather than an information service, which is something more like Google.
Right.
Okay.
And so this really allows the FCC to kind of more closely oversee everything that's happening and regulate pricing a little bit, and they're better positioned for the end goal in the long run, which is basically bringing high-speed internet to everyone across the United States.
Okay.
So some of the key provisions of this are actually practices that are really known to harm the open internet. And so these are actually applied to both fixed internet, so that's like your home broadband, and mobile connections. So it doesn't matter where you're getting on the internet, everyone's covered under these laws.
Okay.
So first of all, no blocking, so they can't block access to anything. There's no throttling, so they can't slow down the content based on the content.
Okay.
And there's no paid prioritization, so you can't kind of hop on a fast lane by paying Comcast more money.
Right. Which is what, ideally, what some of the talk was about. It would hurt smaller businesses.
Exactly.
That big companies, as they were saying, you know, Netflix, Hulu, these giants, you know, that are going to eat up a lot of broadband with, but they can't pay more to make sure that that's delivered before mini Netflix or mini Hulu or those startup companies that are trying to make a voice.
We want to make sure that everyone still has a voice on the internet, and the internet stays an open playing field for everyone to participate in.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, what does this mean to Brittany and I, to you, our folks at home that are watching, regular old internet users? What does it mean for us?
Really, I think that these rules are kind of more of a preventative measure. So this is great, I think, and it's one of the best things that I've seen, because I feel like we're being more proactive in government rather than constantly being reactive.
Right.
And so there's only actually been a few cases of this stuff happening already, but we're kind of cutting it off, I think, at the source before it gets bad. And we're really giving the FCC the ability to kind of take control a little bit more and help us out. So that the internet can be, you know, used as intended originally.
Yeah.
And I actually had a favorite quote from the FCC announcement that said, "These rules support clear rules of the road, providing the certainty needed for innovators and investors and the competitive choices and freedom demanded by consumers while not burdening broadband providers with anachronistic utility-style regulations."
Okay.
So it's basically saying, you know, we're trying to be fair to everyone here. We're trying to be fair to our users. We're trying to be fair to the small businesses that are entering in and need the internet, and also still to the broadband providers. We don't want to regulate them too much, but we want to make sure that they know that this is something that should be provided to everyone, and therefore needs to be monitored a little bit more by the government.
Yeah.
Now, just one quick question before we get out. Do you think, because you had mentioned that this is, being proactive about it, do you think that this is going to hinder companies like Netflix, Hulu, charging more, or do you think that it's going to cause down the road for them to charge more for subscribers because they're saying, you know what, we're having to fight more to get those 10 pieces of the parcel. We're trying to get that house of cards to you, but because of net neutrality, it's slowing it down. Do you think it's going to affect our price at the end of the day?
I actually think that it would have been opposite.
Okay.
Myself, it seems like you would have had to pay more if they were like, oh, well, we can buy more room on the internet, so you're going to pay for that in the
makes
long
sense.
run.
Right, okay.
But I think now, because it's not really up to us, it's hopefully won't happen like that. Although one of the criticisms of this is that maybe it won't allow people and big internet service providing companies to invest in internet and to laying down more internet. So that's the kind of debate now, and we'll have to just see how that goes. But hopefully they understand that, that's not going to be the way to really do better.
Yeah,
So-
lots of stuff to wait and see how it
Yes,
is
thank
going
you.
to pan
Now
out
we
for us.
understand
Yeah.
what net neutrality
Yes,
is. So many
exactly.
citizens are
Kind
talking
of
about it on
confusing.
Facebook. Now you know.
Exactly. For more information on net neutrality, head over to casa.com. We will have links to Nika.tv. Nika, thanks for coming in.
Yeah.